Playoffs? Chris, what's up, man? Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Megan, go ahead.
Vince, congratulations.
Thank you, Megan.
The day is finally here. What are the thoughts, emotions just going through your head as you get ready to see your number hang up in the rafters?
Excitement. Well, how you doing, Frank? I see you over there. Excitement, nerves, just positive energy. I think that's what it is.
I know you've had a chance to celebrate these last couple of days with different events, and you've gotten a chance to see a lot of your former teammates. Your family is here. What has it been like just to catch up with them and also see your family, have a moment all together?
It's been cool because, I talk with Bobby a little bit. I see Devin every so often. I haven't seen Antoine actually in a while. And, for those who were around, when Antoine got here, that was my guy. He was my rookie. I think I did a good job. And then Bobby, we hang out a lot when we see each other. But I haven't seen both Sean and the Nad in years. So it's just great to see those guys, flying from where they are, where they were, and to be here is like truly special. And of course, I saw Rod earlier this morning, and I just have to laugh, man. Rod just makes me laugh. It's just good times with him. So I can't wait to see. I know Ed Stefanski's here. Who else? Talking with Buck Williams a couple of days. It's like it's weird seeing Buck Williams. I didn't fanboy, but it just took me back to a memory. My first couple times in the arena. So of course, when I first got here, I was injured. But my first couple times in the arena, I remember obviously looking up there. I don't know. I always like to admire the arenas and what's up there, jerseys. And I'm pretty sure I've said, man, I'd love to see my jersey up there. I definitely know I said that in Carolina, with all the history in Carolina. But I'm pretty sure I probably said it before. But I just remember always seeing, 52 up there, and obviously that other guy who I kind of admire as well, seeing those guys up there night in, night out, and I would always just glance up there. So really meeting Buck. I think we crossed paths in his last years, in my early years, but just getting to see him, and it's always cool when guys like that say, "Welcome to the club."
There were a lot of, I guess, moments and memories that you had while you were playing here, a lot of them high-flying. But I'm curious if you could pick one in your mind, whether it's a dunk or a play or just a moment even off of the court in your mind that you take with you closest to your heart as a favorite memory of your time here.
There's two more. It's two.
Two then.
And the first one is my first game that I was able to play. J Kidd throwing the lob too darn high, and me trying to catch it. Like I always talk about it, and I always remember that. And him saying he just wanted to test the waters and see what we're working with. And I was crazy enough to. I told him before, like it's one thing to tell somebody, yet sometimes you just got to show them. And you throw it, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna at least make. I'm gonna make an attempt, and I think that set the tone for some great years. And then, obviously, the Alonzo Mourning dunk is often talked about. I remember more than anything after the dunk happened, glancing at the bench, and my college teammate, Jeff McGinnis, acting the fool over there. And inside, I had the mean mug face, and, it felt so good, but inside, like, I was laughing. And then my good buddy Shaq, who wasn't on the court, who probably would have been the guy there, and if you know the story about Shaq and I, in my Toronto days, and I tried to dunk him, he laid me out. So I'm thankful he wasn't up there because that wouldn't be a play in history. But looking at him and hearing him say that was his teammate, but he had a good chuckle himself. So those are the two that stick out amongst a lot of other plays I definitely could talk about.
Vince, Chris, over here.
Hi, Chris, man. What's up, man?
Congrats.
Congrats on the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
You had a level of fame before you came to New Jersey. But how did your time with this franchise solidify your place in the Hall of Fame, do you think?
A lot of it goes to Jason Kidd. And I got to get L. Frank some love, too. But I think, like I said, after that lob, him knowing that I was willing to do whatever, after the game winner in Toronto, off the handoff, like just, if he didn't know, he learned that I was not afraid of the moment. I wasn't afraid to fail. When I did, I wanted more. I wanted the opportunity again. And L. Frank understanding what he had and how to put it together. And trusted me, because let me tell you, L. Frank, there's another memory. You asked me about memory. This is another memory I remember is L. Frank always, well, he comes up to me one day. I played a couple of games, and he's like, you know, L, he always has a pen in his hand, and it's always pen marks all over his hand, sometimes on his face. And he's like, hey, Vince, man, let me talk to you for a second. I was like, what's up, L? What'd I do? He's like, I really want to tell you to stop shooting that damn three-point shot from that far. But your percentages are pretty good. So I'm going to let you, because I actually see you practice it. And then from then on, further back and further back and further back. But I just felt comfortable in the moment, and I was not afraid of those moments. And then it got worse because of a guy named Jason Kidd who wasn't afraid of any pass in the game. He didn't care about a turnover because he probably had, well, there's no problem, he had more assists than turnovers. And we started to work together, and I started to understand, like, well, we just started to figure out. It's like, he's on the fast break. If I can't catch up, well, guess who's wheeling around for the deep three? And it was a weapon. And, I mean, it's used today, now, but it was used in yesteryears as well.
There's a few of us in this room who were here your whole career.
I heard them. You were.
And we've been through some hard times, too.
Yes.
Big time fans of this franchise. So how would you sum up your time in New Jersey, being that it's one of the high points in the franchise's history?
Oh, how do you sum it up? New life. It was new life. The crazy thing about that is that I was criticized for it. And it was strange because it's like, you know, my role in Toronto was, just give me the ball. I can get you a bucket. I didn't mind having to work hard to get a bucket. And then when I got here, I mean, that's all I knew. But then you have a guy who makes the game easier for you, and Jason Kidd. So you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll always say it. Like, you mean all I have to do now is just put the ball in the basket? I don't have to run around. I don't have to dribble around unless I need to. Oh, that's easy. That's second nature. That's what we all do. So he just took my game. He made the game easier for me. And I felt and then once I got comfortable in that role, I wanted to make the game easier for him. And it was amazing, and I didn't realize it while playing with him. I mean, he's such a great three-point shooter, and you know, he was amongst the best in history, which surprises people. But he now wanted to use that as a weapon. So we'd come down the court sometimes. He's like, "No, you run offense." Forwards out. He's like, "No, you run offense." Forwards out 15, whatever the case, pick and roll. No, let's put you in the pick and roll. They got a WT. Just make the right read. And I did, you know, learning from him. So I think new life that turned into great opportunities. And I never realized the franchise record. I didn't pay attention to it. I just went out and did my job and had a darn good time doing it.
Hey, Vince, here in the center. Not sure how much you talk to RJ on a regular basis, but what was
Too much.
too much. But what was Thursday night like? Partially seeing the documentary, but also getting to kind of share that moment on stage with him and getting to
It was
reconnect.
typical RJ. If you guys know RJ, he was tame on the mic. Most of it off the mic, I was like, girl, we can't talk about this. And he actually kept his buttons up. That was impressive. So that was the one thing I was concerned about. But like there again, I always talk about J Kidd, but I give RJ so much credit as well because I would talk to J Kidd, but I also would talk to RJ, and he helped me understand who J Kidd was and how he thought. He wasn't the vocal leader; he led by example. And here comes Vincent here, the one who did most of the yelling, talking, and whatever, and it worked. And I think that was the beautiful dynamic. But watching him play, because for me, I'm coming in trying to learn how do I fit in? I want to be myself, but how do I fit in and not step on toes? And I was scolded by that from J Kidd. But how does it work? Well, RJ said, man, just run. So I'm like, all right, run. Watching him run the wing and get easy dunks, I was like, oh, shit, boy, this is, J Kidd gets the rebound, outlet, one dribble, go. Oh, I want some of that. That's fun. So now I'm trying to outrun RJ so he sees me. Who knew, see me? So now it becomes Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson running the wings and throw it up in the middle to see who gets there first. And that just, made for fun time. So I give him a lot of credit for the success. Well, I should give him more credit because it was the conversations like that. Yes, I had those conversations with J Kidd, but I also had those other conversations because RJ and I was a guy that, for as long as I remember, there was no Ubers, but we would take a cab or take the first bus, and we used to race each other down the hallway. So for those of you who were in there would see RJ and I racing down the hall to see who can get dressed and get on the court first. It was just a competition, but it was always competitive. They said I made him better. Okay, fine, but he helped me settle in and lock in, which, that if that first year, we were nowhere to be found for a playoff run until we figured it out and we got in. So, I owe him a lot of thanks as well.
Hey, Vince, over here. You have talked about this franchise giving you new life, finding your joy playing basketball again in the documentary. But this franchise has been through a lot since you were, playing here, moved to Brooklyn, new ownership, all of that. Do you still feel that same energy, that same feeling? Does it still feel like home despite kind of how much the franchise has changed? And
Well,
if so, why?
I don't know if you know, I actually come in here and call games. And I'm being funny, but it's bless you, young lady. It's truly fun. It's great energy. Regardless of the record, I enjoy being here. I enjoy talking about the game, trying to teach those who are listening about the game how we think, regardless of wins and losses. I want people to see the bigger picture, because if you actually take a step back, and I say this, and I hope people hear me out and take it how it should be. When you have a bad day in life and you can't get it done, you don't get booed. You just want to figure it out. So and me as a player going through that, wins, bad teams, but we still try hard. And that's what I want people to always pay attention to. When you look at the big picture of teams and what we call bad teams or teams that aren't winning, but are they playing hard? Sometimes you don't get the job done, but are they playing hard? It's like something you can be proud of. So just like when you, the person, go to work every day, did I give it my best? Everything I did didn't work out, but I gave it everything, and I'm gonna try it tomorrow. And that's what I enjoy watching with this team more than anything. Yeah, it sucks losing. And our job on the air is, well, to me, I take it that way, is my job is to help people understand just that. Find the positives, because that's what we have to look for the future. We're in a world right now, and now you got me up here like I'm in a debate, but we're in a world right now where we want right now. But we didn't all get here right now. We had to work for what we have today, correct? And I think we tend to forget that in sports. And now I get it. You have a real gripe when you can actually see there's no effort. You have the right to boo, 100%, because we didn't give you the effort. But that's what I enjoy. And I go in there every time. And I went in there today, and I just said thank you to those guys. Because it's frustrating as a player. And it's like, man, you make all this money, this. Yeah, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, when they give a championship trophy, it's only one team getting it. When they give an MVP trophy, only one person getting it, but that doesn't mean the other team didn't try because they had the same goal. So I just try to deliver that. And Frank, you've helped me a lot with, understanding my vision and how to deliver that. So I thank you for that. But that's just my goal. I've always wanted to be in this, behind the scenes in calling games to protect players and just to make people aware of that. That's all. Because like I said, you have the right to boo when you don't see effort. Just like when you see your kids, you scold your kids when they have effort, but they don't get it right all the time. That's just how it goes. So I'm off my soapbox, sorry. Yes, sir.
Just curious for you. You played into your early 40s, and you had been
43, it's okay, you can say it.
you had been into other stops as well. Kind of a two-parter. One, was this the most fun that you had playing basketball on the court, just from a pure basketball perspective, for you, given all the stops that you had, but playing with J-Kid?
This is one of a few. I got to give credit to that Magic team I played on. We had almost too much fun. I played with a guy named Dwight Howard who was extremely playful. But I played with a funny guy by the name of Jason Williams who was interesting but fun. But I think this team was fun for the simple fact of, obviously, when it's time to go to work, but we had fun. And let me tell you, I'm sure you guys know Richard Jefferson off the court, when he wants to have fun, the kid can have fun. And but we were tight. We had fun, but we understood when it was time to lock in, and that's the beauty. That's when it's really fun, because you have teams that have a lot of fun, but it doesn't translate all the time. It's just the way it is. But we hung out. We actually enjoyed each other and played for each other, and that's what makes it fun. That made the game fun. I mean, Jason Kidd and I bowled together. We were in a bowling league together. So I think it was on Tuesdays, like you come to your local bowling alley, and we were coming to kick your butt.
Hey, Vince, in the back. When you got to those later years of your career, when there's none of the individual accolades to chase, scoring titles or MVPs or anything, and you're probably not chasing even championships at that point because of the teams you were on, what did you find gratification in? Like, what were those last years about?
I was 40 years old and can get a bucket on an 18 to 25-year-old. I was 40 years old, 43 years old, probably in better shape than most of them. I was 43 years old, probably knew the game better than most of them. That was kind of what I was playing for. I was also 43 years old, and I still loved the game. And that was more important. Like, championships, I had my time to win championships, and I missed a shot. I don't know if you know about that, May 20th, 2001. Yeah, I missed a shot with an opportunity. Had a shot in Orlando. We ran into a tough Boston squad that beat us in 6. Not that I remember those things, but, I had my chances. But at the same time, I still loved to play. And I was still willing to put the work in to play. For me, I just didn't, like, I'm willing to help anybody, any player, and it's well documented. But I always felt the way today's kid, the way you help them is by showing them. And I felt like I can tell you till you're blue in the face, and sometimes that conversation doesn't go in and stick, you know what I'm saying? So now that conversation we had, if I can go out there and show you, maybe in spot minutes, it makes sense and it starts to click. And I honestly felt that I could play. And there were some teams that called me and wanted me to sit there and possibly could have played on some of the championship teams, but they're like, oh, we don't know, we'll see. I wanted to go out there and show and play. I put the work in for a reason. I'd have been a miserable 43-year-old just sitting on the bench when I know that I could still play.
Question in a similar vein. How did your definition of success or your goals for what you wanted to get out of basketball evolve from when you first got here to sitting there now today?
Success in the beginning, I wanted to prove I belonged. I wanted to prove that I was able to get it done just like the best of the best. Not just scoring, but I can, utilize the teams, the players that I had on a roster, and in my mind, lead them hopefully to the promised land. And getting to the playoffs was important. I mean, I was on the team to getting where we got the Raptors their first playoff appearance, first sweep, and first victory. And I took the onus to put that on my shoulders. And I was pencil whipped for when I didn't deliver, but it was okay. I was back the next year. And I was okay with it. I was never, you guys are brutal sometimes, but I appreciate it because it's motivating. It really was. And it's kind of like what social media is today for me back in the pre-social media, which is weird to think for like some of these guys. It's like, yeah, I was playing the shirts they're wearing. It's like, yeah, this was before social media. And they're like, what? This is crazy. Like, they can't fathom such a thing. And, but that was just my motivation. And that was kind of the motivation here. I'm going to continue that. Oh man, I have a Jason Kidd out here. Let me go do my job to get us there. And it was a real motivation to get us into the playoffs that first year, just to show that I was still capable of, because it was questioned. My love for the game was questioned. But I'm like, well, just come ask me. No, matter of fact, don't ask me. Just come watch me, and you'll see. And on the back end of my career, like you said, it wasn't about chasing titles or scoring records. I mean, technically, it wasn't chasing, but every time I stepped on the floor and made a bucket, and the old guy actually moves up the ranks just because, just because I've been around. But for me, it's that when I stepped on the floor, even for you guys, but more so my teammates, younger teammates, did he look like he belonged? Or were you saying, oh man, it's time for him to go? That was important to me, more so in the locker room. But, for you guys as well, because it's motivating, because I know guys who were my age at that time, or even in their mid-30s, they're like, man, I wake up every morning and I hurt. How do you do it? But they tend to forget, I actually wake up every morning, I still got to stretch, train, run around, so I was consistent. Now, if he asked me that question, I'm like, I feel your pain. Like, I can't imagine, what the heck was I doing out there playing? But, it was just consistency. It was just dedication, willingness to do whatever it took to be out there because I wanted to, not because I had to. I wanted to. Like, I wanted to play. I hated in my 40s when coaches were like, the load management and rest because your usage is up. I'm like, I only played 15 minutes. What usage? Like, I don't care about my age. Like, I came in an era where it was a badge of honor to play the minutes I played, and I'm playing 77 plus games. We were trying to get to 82 games played. That was important. So that's always been my mentality. So regardless of the old guy, I carried that, and I think that was kind of my motivation. Like, I trained this hard to be in shape, to be ready, because that's all I knew. Like, I didn't know any other way. Oh no, I'm not. I know they're not gonna play a lot of minutes, or I might not play a lot of games, so I don't really have to do that. That was disrespecting the game to me. And then when I didn't want to do all the work to play, that's when it was time to walk away.
Vince, you will forever be 15 in a Nets jersey. For you, for your name, for your family.
That 25 was weird, right? Yeah, you can admit it. Sometimes I look down too when I'm coming in Dallas and Phoenix, like, yeah, I'm 25, sorry.
But 15 will always be forever special for this Nets franchise, for you and for your name and for your family. What does that number mean to you, and what does it mean to know that many years to come, your family can always see you up in the rafters?
15. Well, it goes back to my freshman year when my coach told me I couldn't have 23 or 6, or I was a Randall Cunningham, so 12 was not available, and Mom told me find a number and make it famous. And I've always that was it. I was like, all right, well, 15 it is. And the funny thing about wearing 15 in the early 90s, it wasn't a popular number. So when I played on some AAU teams, they didn't have it, so they had to order it, which is crazy to think now, but 15 wasn't a popular number that all teams had in their set. They would have everything else, 23, the 12s, the 6s, but no 15. And so when I started playing on more teams, it became available, and that's what it was. And I remember my first, my visit to Carolina, the equipment manager asked me my number. I was like 15, and he's like, well, it's a backup just in case it's not available, because at the time, that year before, there was a teammate of mine that actually wore 15. And when I came in as a freshman, he had to give it, well, he gave it up from what I hear. I don't know if he had to. I don't know. I just knew the day I had 15, and when I'm taking my pictures, it was 15. So I was just praying I didn't have 25. But yeah, and he gave it up because I heard through the grapevine that he wanted the number that he ended up with. Now, I'm not saying any names. You can go look it up. But I'm sure some of you Carolina fans can figure it out. Shimon. That's messed up. You're right. But no, he was gracious, that guy, to do so. And I started having success with it, and that's all I knew. All I know, and it's all I knew. And seeing it go up, watching it go up in Toronto, watching it being retired was pretty cool, because I was like, I've had that number. So I was fortunate enough I didn't have to change numbers often. Like, I had that 25, it was nasty, but I actually wore that number in the Magic Johnson Round Ball Classic in Detroit, Michigan. Remember? Because they didn't have 15. And they gave me 25, so that's where that came from. But this young man in front said, nobody can wear it but me. I was like, well, you got to ask first. But so it's just pretty cool for him, all of them, to really see it, particularly Kai. She was born here and got to kind of see it as a kid, and seeing me play, and now Vincent getting to see me a little bit, and Vale hearing it, but getting to go back and kind of seeing that 15, and it's pretty cool to me that I'm cool enough that he wants to wear it, So he's like, it would be sick. I'm not gonna lie to you, if he chooses to play basketball and he ends up on one of those teams, particularly here or Toronto, like, that'd be crazy. Yeah. You think I'm emotional now? That would be crazy. That'll be crazy. Yeah, that'd be crazy, right? Yeah.
Vince, over here in the back. Not a lot of guys get to have their number go up next to their idol. What does that mean to you?
Everything. Everything. I have so much respect for Doc. Tracy was easy call for Hall of Fame. And when I asked him, his response was, man, I was waiting for you. So he was already ready. But Dr. J was kind of like, I'm going to make the call. And he didn't answer the first time. And I left a message. It was like, hey, Doc, I want to run some things by you. Give me a call back. Weeks go by. I hear nothing from Dr. J. So I just kind of hesitated, took a step back. So that's why, initially it wasn't announced, because I didn't want to crack my face like, yeah, Dr. J, and he can't make it, or didn't want to do it. And I received that phone call from him. And he was like, oh, man, I would love it. I would love it. Sorry. And that means so much. And I think I keep saying about, like, I'm so darn emotional these days. It pisses me off. But I can explain it, because, I have a great appreciation for what the Hall of Fame means. And not many guys get that opportunity. I have a great appreciation for being honored having your jersey retired, because not a lot of guys get that opportunity to do it. I don't take it for granted. And for somebody as iconic as Dr. J, was my hero. Call me. I was like, heck yeah, I'll do it. And then I was just like so thankful. And then he was just like, what are you wearing? I was like, what? I was like, well, I'm gonna wait. He's like, I'm just kidding. Cause I'm like, I'm not about to go up there and dress like Dr. J. We're not about to go look like twins up here. But like, that's just who he is. And he's been a friend. But I can separate the friend when we're in this, in this arena as far as who he really is. And like, I'm truly honored, period. Like, you said yes, and now I get to go up beside you. God, it's crazy.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.